Welcome to the Confidence Through Health podcast. My name is Jerry Snyder. As a health, wellness, and sports performance coach, my goal each week is to bring you experts to help you take control of your health and build your self-confidence. Thanks for including me today on your journey to better health. I'd like to thank our sponsor for this episode, All In Health and Wellness. If you're looking for a health coach, you're looking for a sports performance coach, you're looking for nutrition guidance, like for instance, a meal by meal plan that will help you understand how to eat. It will teach you how to eat, and it will give your body, your cells, the proper nutrition to feel great and be able to perform at your best, not just physically, but also emotionally and mentally. If you're looking for those things, you're looking for the key to improve your sports performance, both from a nutrition standpoint and an exercise physical standpoint and a mental standpoint as you approach your athletic event. All In Health and Wellness is able to help in these areas. Go to allinhealthandwellness.com and you'll find the contact information for how to get in touch with them and get started on the plan that will improve your life. So Dr. Jeff, I want to thank you for being a guest on the Confidence Through Health podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this very much.
So one of the things that like to dig into a little bit of like what your mindset is and how you like evolved as a physician. Like you started out and you were one of the top neurological surgeons a couple of years ago, as far as like you were tapped that, nationwide. And then like you've gone into the regenerative medicine side a little bit more. Like what makes somebody shift in the middle of that? Because I would assume if you're tabbed one of the best, you've got a thriving practice.
Yeah. Not a little bit. I have moved a lot, and I had no choice but to keep evolving what's best for people. And yes, I certainly had a robust neurological surgery practice. I treated spinal problems. My patients were clamoring for solutions that were non-surgical, and I was clamoring to find them. And luckily, I have some background in the field of what stem cells come from, which is molecular biology and biochemistry. And frankly, these days, we're all amateur biochemists, right? We're talking peptides and we're talking about, cell signaling. At the end of the day, that's what we're all talking about. So I saw the writing on the wall. I saw a very stagnant healthcare, sick care system. I saw the insurance companies were driving the care and not the doctors, and it was soul sucking to stay in there. You couldn't really help people the way you were trained to. So it's not that I've forsaken everything I've learned and applied. I still do those things, but I am very active in helping my patients find the latest and greatest anti-aging, anti-inflammatory cell signaling options. And that led me quickly to stem cells and exosomes and peptides. There you go.
Right. So the anti-aging, the longevity piece, right? Like when we look at that, like what should healthy aging look like?
For everyone, it depends on your appetite. Well, how much are you willing to do? If you want to exercise and eat right and sleep well, that may be your longevity plan, and that would serve you well. If you want to add some additional things, maybe strategic exercise, maybe hormesis, a little stress on your cells to build some resilience, hot sauna, cold plunge, fasting, then you level up. And if you want to go for broke, we can add cell signaling, we can add peptides and regenerative medicine, and we can even go further. There are now medicines being repurposed, actual drugs repurposed for their longevity benefits, like rapamycin and acarbose and others.
Okay. So but you want to stair step correctly, right? You don't want to jump to something that's
people want to, but you're right. You want to build the foundation, do all this stuff first, because if you do end up having an exosome procedure or peptides, you want to have the most out of them. And to do so, you have to live that anti-inflammatory lifestyle and do all the right stuff. If you want the best benefit, that's the best economic and efficient way to get the result, for sure.
Right. Yeah. Because otherwise your body wouldn't be ready for it, for lack of a better way of saying it. And you just wouldn't see the benefit that you're expecting to see. And then you just would go and say to everybody else, oh, that stuff doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to do the work. So it may have some benefit, but not as strong a benefit. It may not last as long. So we want to get the most out of these things.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So when somebody starts to look at exosomes, um, it's there. I would assume it's like opening up an onion and peeling it back and going like, okay, wait a minute, how there's so many layers to this, right?
There are. There are. I mean, this is under the heading of regenerative cell signaling.
Mhm.
And, if I can just maybe educate a little bit here,
Yeah.
that means we're taking our cells that over time have been exposed to things in the environment and the food, in the water, in the air, electromagnetic fields, bad thoughts, all these things,
Right.
lack of exercise, it could be all kinds of things that cause them to accumulate molecular cellular junk. And that is what we sometimes refer to as chronic inflammatory stress on the cells. And as a
Yeah.
result, the cells don't function as well and they degrade. And that's the
Right.
degenerative issues that we identify. And it can manifest as accelerated aging at the cellular level. It could manifest in your skin and how you look and how you function, your sluggishness of your metabolism, how you sleep, how you produce hormones, how you function mentally, physically. And then, one of the early signs of accumulated degeneration, of course, is at the ends of the bones, the old growth plates,
Right.
and you stop making and maintaining your cartilage, and you get what doctors call arthritis because they don't want to take the time to explain it's actually an inflammatory degeneration of the cartilage forming cells that leads to
Right.
cartilage loss and then pain and dysfunction, right?
Right. And so when we don't know those things are happening, or we're ignoring them, right? Or we're getting the wrong diagnosis that those things are going on because maybe or the doctor we're seeing is not educated enough themselves on what could be the possibility. Adding exosomes in as a therapy method, does that like it's not an immediate like the next day you feel like you're a kid again, is
It
it?
can. It can. It depends on the application and the person and how inflamed they are and
Okay.
various factors, of course. Everyone's
Right.
handled differently. And exosomes aren't the only way to do it. But when we talk about exosomes, just so we're clear here, I think you and I are talking on the human side right now. These,
Right.
these are the youthful, sourced, perinatal, tested, screened
Right.
cell signaling. So exosomes are how stem cells do their work,
Hmm.
right? We now know that stem cells aren't doing the work, they're delivering the work. And
Right.
the work is exosomes, and our cells take in the exosomes. Our cells do the work. What we do is we flip them from this degenerated, sluggish, not pulling their weight status, and we flip them into anti-inflammatory mode, which really means optimal function. Go back to functioning like when you were young and think about it, Jerry. When you were 3 years old and you scraped your knee, your mother would, clean it up, put
Right.
some Bactine on it, put a Band-Aid on it, kiss your knee,
Yep.
and send you on the way. And then
Yep.
3 days later in the bathtub, the Band-Aid comes off and your scab is almost completely healed.
Sure. Yep.
Now, if you fall running and bruise your elbow, you've got a bruise for 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, you didn't heal as fast now and you're the same person, you got the same
Right.
genes, because your
Right.
cells just aren't cooking along like a brand new vehicular engine out of the factory that, is
Right.
humming, right?
Yeah.
So, we can, I'm going to say hack your cells to behave more youthfully, and they can restore things, they can repair things better. So sometimes we do that as an ongoing treatment, an anti-aging strategy, a biohack. Sometimes we do it very focally when we do joint, regenerative procedures. We're looking to help
Right.
you restore a joint
Yeah.
and the cartilage, things like that. So you can get
Okay.
them IV, you can get them focally, we can do them for cosmetic reasons.
Right.
And I've been doing quite a bit of that, and I'm so amazed by it. I wish I had this tool my whole practice. So now I can help people avoid joint and spine surgery.
Right.
But we were talking human. I think this is where we talk about I stumbled accidentally onto the fact that the animal kingdom is not the only set of live forms that make exosomes.
Right. So Well, but to before we get into that, but to touch on, and I want to make sure that people hear this because I've got a friend, a very good friend who is a surgeon, and it, no disrespect to what he does or anything like that, but if you go to him with a complaint, he's like, "Oh, let's just take it out."
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what a surgeon does, right? And so to
Yeah.
hear somebody
Yep.
who's a surgeon say,
Yep.
"Let's avoid surgery if we can,"
Yep.
is like that's a big shift in
Yeah.
mentality, right?
Yeah. Luckily I had the mindset of surgery is the last option always, but I had to take the blinders off and put the Kool-Aid down
Yeah.
to open my mind to 30 years really of advancements in science
Yeah.
that are not percolating through the medical education side, right? Medicine is very stagnant.
Yeah.
It is very, very stagnant. What I learned to do surgically hasn't changed in 5 to 6 decades.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a smaller incision or a new widget to insert, but it's the
Right.
same thing, right?
Right.
So I saw that, and maybe it was writing on the wall or whatever, and I still see plenty of spine patients, consultations, but we're looking now to not do surgery. So if
Right.
you're out there and you were told you need something, get a second opinion. It can be me, it can be someone else, but there are options for you. And then
Yeah.
maybe a non-surgical option. Not for
Right.
everybody, but maybe.
Right. And I've said this to so many people. It's like if you can avoid getting cut open, that's the best thing for your body because it's even if it's a healing procedure or a
Yeah.
fixing procedure, it's still doing damage to your body that it's got to
Oh
overcome
yeah.
over time.
And especially spine surgeries, the bigger spine surgeries, we have a lot of trauma to cause to get in there
Yeah.
if we have to do it, right?
Yeah. So,
Agreed. Yeah.
all right. So let's go into the other way to get to find exosomes that you stumbled upon. So tell us about that.
Well, yeah. So I have this. If it's not clear to you, Jerry, and everyone listening, I'm a nerd. I'm just going to say it here publicly again.
Right.
And I love to read the latest in the literature and stay ahead of it. I pride myself on that, and I want to be able to offer my patients cutting edge things they can't find at their regular institutionalized 5-minute doctor's visit. Right. I
Right.
love
Right.
being different there. So every morning, if I have my coffee or my protein shake, I am reading the literature that was published in the last 24 hours. I have a
Right.
Google alert for stem cells, exosomes, things like that, different pathways, and I read all the latest stuff. So I one morning, maybe 2.5 years ago, I saw this article on plant vesicles or plant exosomes. I'm like, what? What's that? So I start reading, and as it turns out, plants, fungi, probably all cells of any type of kingdom
Mm-hmm.
make exosomes.
Right.
And those exosomes communicate with other kingdoms. So, do
Mm.
plants communicate with us? Yes. How do they
Right.
do that? We eat fruit. Let's say fruit. We eat
Yeah.
fruit, and yeah, we get vitamins, we get fiber,
Right. Yeah.
but what the most important thing we get from fruit is something called phytonutrients.
Yeah.
And phytonutrients are plant biochemicals that our cells need, not just our cells, but also our gut bacteria, our microbiome
Right.
needs. So let's list a few, right? We know things like resveratrol,
Mm-hmm.
quercetin, fisetin, glutathione, sulforaphane. You've heard of some of these, right? They're from different, and some fruits and vegetables contain more than others.
Sure.
All of the B vitamins except B12
Yep.
are phytonutrients. Vitamin C is a phytonutrient. As it turns out, and I'm amazed to read this over my coffee, that plants deliver phytonutrients in plant exosomes.
Okay.
Their cells, their stem cells too,
Yep.
make these in exosomes. So I started thinking about this, because I was taking a handful of phytonutrient supplements because I read about them. I thought these are great.
Sure. Yep.
I'm taking resveratrol. We've all heard of resveratrol, perhaps, from red grapes. It stimulates anti-aging activities at the cellular level. Great. This sounds fantastic. We should all be doing this, right?
Right.
As it turns out, the pharmaceutical or the supplement industry gets this in two ways currently. They either construct the molecule, synthesize it, which is fine, it's bioidentical.
Yeah.
Or they extract it out of the plants and break open the exosomes and create a supplement. So you have And what you're getting is that raw phytonutrient. Here's the problem.
Right.
You take a capsule, you probably lose 90% of it through the digestive process.
Yeah.
That which gets into your body, you probably lose another 90% of it that never gets into your cell. It's
Right.
bouncing around the bloodstream. And what do? You go to the doctor, you're like, Doc, I need a B6 vitamin level. They draw your blood and they can tell you how much is in your bloodstream. But what they can't
Right.
tell you is how much got into your cells,
Yeah.
right? Why is this? Nature has evolved to have this delivered from the fruit to our cells through the exosome. There's no receptor for vitamin B6 on your cell
Right.
surface saying, looking for some six, send it on over, looking for
Yeah.
some resveratrol. So it never really gets into the cell. And that's why you have to take tons of it to get
Yeah.
any type of benefit. And that's why you have expensive urine. So this
Right.
is expensive. Like, okay, wait a minute. Nature's already figured out a significantly better delivery mechanism, an
Mhm.
exosome. Why don't we have those? And it turns out that the limitation had been the ability to extract and concentrate those.
Mhm.
But exosome science has really grown up in the last 15 years.
Yeah.
So I found a lab that could do it. And we have curated organic Italian fruits in the Mediterranean blue zone,
Nice.
mostly citrus, papaya, and mango. We
Uh-huh.
have a lab that extracts the exosomes, and there's a lot of labor. This is through ultracentrifugation
Right.
for hours and hours and hours of multiple steps. I hate to liken this, I don't mean to be political here, but it's how you enrich uranium. You have to have
Yeah.
these ultracentrifuges going,
Yeah.
right? So, not to be political, but that's how they do it.
Right.
And so that's how we extract these plant exosomes, and then we bring them here to the US. We put them in vegetable capsules, and one capsule a day has a 4,500 times delivery efficiency to the cell compared to a standard phytonutrient. And these fruits
Wow.
give off resveratrol, quercetin, fisetin, glutathione. So you can
Right.
get rid of all those. They weren't doing much anyway.
Yeah.
And you can have one, it's a small capsule a day. And this was meant for longevity. So it's longevity exosomes. We call it LONGEVEX, and that's our baby. So
Right.
I'm not only a doctor now, I guess I'm a supplement designer.
Right.
We've
Right.
got others in the works from different fruits, vegetables, things, and it's just a matter of, we need more ultracentrifuges in the
Yeah.
lab. So anyway, that's the aha moment that I had that took
Right.
me, and we launched this 11 months ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, well, that you sort of touched on a little bit with which types of plants you use, which types of fruits, but like, because that was going to be one of my questions. Are all plants equal when it comes to this?
No, they have different phytonutrients. Like berries
Right.
produce, astaxanthins. Sorry, these are hard to pronounce even for me.
Yeah.
And we are working on looking to see if we can derive exosomes from berries. They have anti-cancer properties and all kinds of
Right.
things. We are looking at pomegranate. We are looking at broccoli sprouts for the sulforaphane.
Yeah.
So this is just our first product, this longevity play. Then we'll go into anti-inflammatory and other things more
Right.
specifically. But we did a preclinical study and we did show increased sirtuin-1 gene activity, which is anti-aging gene in your mitochondria. We did
Right.
show decreased reactive oxygen species, so decreased inflammatory stress at the cellular level, decreased DNA damage markers, and a few
Nice.
other positive longevity signs. So we know this product at the cellular level causes cellular longevity. And if all your cells are living longer, then shoot, you will live longer.
Right. Well, and I would assume if they're living longer, it's because they're stronger, right? They've got a
Right.
stronger cell
They're less
membrane.
inflamed. We're hopefully
Yeah.
moving them backwards, in the biological age category, right?
Right. And so they should be able to withstand assaults from, at both outside toxins, but also inside
Yep.
damaged cells that
Yep.
prevent them from becoming cancer cells, prevent them from becoming, issues to you. And so and
Agreed.
one thing I want to make sure that people are hearing is that like you're talking about at the cellular level, and that's one of the things I told people all the time when I'm trying to help them understand how to get healthier. It's like it's your cell. It's not your heart or your lungs or your kidneys or it's your cells. protect your cells and give your cells what they want, it goes systemically throughout your whole system. Because
Oh,
it may
right.
be a brain cell, it may be a heart cell, but they
Yeah,
still
yeah.
want the same stuff.
Yeah. Now, some phytonutrients are in demand more from certain cells than others. I just read a paper this morning on mushroom exosomes for liver health. So, yes, all your cells benefit, but some areas may have additional benefits beyond above and beyond some other tissue types, and we're
Okay.
seeing that. Yeah.
Okay. So, but it's not like if you take this, it's only going to help one specific type of cell.
No, no, no. This longevity play is an all-in cellular health play. When
Yeah.
we start to look more at other things, we may get more granular and specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from a helping standpoint, is there a your cells are too far over on the deep end, or you've tipped the scale
No,
too far one way or the other
there's
before you can come back?
yeah, I mean if you have passed away, I probably wouldn't use it. But if you're still alive, we got to move that inflammatory needle from pro-inflammatory to anti-inflammatory in all possible ways that we can. So this is
Yeah.
one way, and it's never too late,
Yeah.
to take longevity action steps. And the earlier you start, the more you do, the
Mhm.
longer you will live healthy, and that's the
Right.
result you're looking for.
Right. And the other thing is that because it's coming from plants or the ones that are coming from human derived, like it's a natural thing in your body already. So it's
Oh, right.
something that's safe.
These aren't pharmaceuticals. They're not manipulated. It's
Right.
all natural. I'm not allowed to say things like safe or effective because the FDA
Sure.
has not yet approved that language, but
Right.
we have had no complications or side effects. So observationally, and I do them, my family does them, both the plant and the human,
Yeah.
and we seem to be doing okay.
Because effectively you're like you described earlier, you're helping the stuff get into the cell
Yeah.
that it needs, as opposed to, and I don't know how many people I've talked to, and of course I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. You go to the doctor and you get a blood test and they say all your levels are fine, but you're like, well, why do I feel like crap? It's because your blood may be fine, but it's not getting into the
Right.
cells and actually
Correct.
helping you.
Yeah. Doctors, you should know better.
Yeah. Because then, yeah, like you said, or if you go and you say, oh, your B12's low, and you take a bunch of B12, but if it's not getting into the cells, then yeah, you're it unless you have a massive placebo effect, you're really not doing anything good.
Yeah, or we're taking such big doses to overwhelm the system, so just to force some into the cells, right?
Right.
So I think that's what we're doing with supplements these days, and that's why your urine is fluorescent, after some doses of vitamins, because you need
Yeah.
to just push it into your system to get any benefit. You're getting
Right.
some, yeah.
Yeah. And exosomes, is it something that we look at the levels of what we're doing over time and adjust that? Do we titrate down after a certain period of time, or is it the standard, or do we need more as we age?
That's a great question. We're going to be looking at that with some additional studies using what's called metabolomics.
Mhm.
And what that means is we're looking at the actual small molecules that represent what's happening inside the cell, pathways that kick off a biomarker
Right.
that we can measure. So we will be able to see that at different age groups and see if someone would need more compared to less. We've had people try handfuls of this, and it's like eating more fruit. I mean, you're not going to
Right.
hurt yourself.
Right.
We have one guy who's a huge longevity seeker. He's in his 80s. He does a lot of great stuff. He took a handful of them. He said, I felt fine. I just had gas. Well, if you eat a lot of fruit,
Oh,
you're going to have gas, right?
yeah.
So,
Yep. But it's also not something that it's not a magic pill. You can not do anything else.
no, you got to do the work.
You
You
still
you
got to
got
do all that
to you
stuff.
got to have a good diet and sleep and exercise and whatever else you're doing. On that list we started with here at
Yeah.
the outset. So no, it is one thing, but it is one of the items on the longevity and healthy longevity list is
Mhm.
proper supplementation,
Right.
and you'll never be able to eat enough fruits and vegetables to get what we want you to have. So
Yeah.
here's our trick:
Right.
plant exosomes in a concentrated way.
Right.
I mean, it would takes us 7 liters of juice to make one capsule, and it takes bushels of fruit to get 7 liters of juice. You couldn't eat that in
No.
a day, and if you did, the fructose, the sugar would be immense.
Right. Right. Yeah, your body would tell you to stop before you ever
Yeah,
got close to that.
yeah.
Um, and so have you looked at this from, I'm sure you have, from multiple areas of the population, right? From people that are truly like sick and trying to recover from something, people that are injured, and then like the top of the line athletes to see like, is there a
We've only been
difference?
around 11 months, so I don't have that kind of observational data yet.
Okay.
We Most of my clients and patients who are interested in this are already longevity seekers. They tend to be on the healthier side,
Yeah.
although we do see people with issues.
Yeah.
Like you said, LONGEVEX alone will not fix them, right? It'll
Yeah.
help, it just won't fix them. But we have people that notice changes when they take it: energy, sleep improvements, cognitive improvements, hair growth, that kind of thing. So we see that. We're also working on a children's gummy
Mm,
because, or again, the earlier you start
yeah.
slowing inflammation, the longer you will live healthier.
Right. Well, and not to get into the nutrition side of it. I've done that with other guests, but the nutrition side of what we have in our country and in Western world um, is so poor in nutrients,
Yes. True.
especially phytonutrients. That
Yes.
yeah, from the young age,
Yeah.
and I've had family members that you take out to eat, and they're 5, 6, 7 years old, and they're like, all I'm going to eat is chicken nuggets or chicken fingers, and
Yep.
that's it, and fries.
Yep. Yep.
They won't have anything else on the menu, and that's all they eat at every meal. And I'm like, you're setting yourself up for massive failure in 10, 15, 20 years.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You don't feel it that day, but you'll feel it later for
Yeah.
sure. I agree with you. Yeah, our food supply is leached. Our meat is not top notch. The grains that the our animals eat are not rich in omega 3s.
Right.
So you still need those things. Exosomes, plant exosomes are not going to fix those, but
Right.
plant phytonutrients do help support the process of metabolizing, fatty acids. So we need that, but you also need the omega 3s.
Yeah.
They're huge. I think we are highly, if you could take three things to a desert island, you take LONGEVEX, you take omega 3s, and you take, I think the third one you take would be vitamin D.
Yeah.
There's a myth that the sun gives you enough vitamin D3.
Yeah.
That is a myth. It does convert vitamin D2 to vitamin D3, but it is inadequate for longevity purposes.
Right. Yeah, the amount of time you'd have to spend in the sun, and
Even then, you're
and
just
it's
not,
yeah.
you might be getting a dose to prevent rickets, the disease of low
Right.
vitamin D, but you're not getting an optimal longevity dose. So
Right.
those are, I also don't like it when we take handfuls and handfuls of supplements, but that would be the three I would take to a desert island. If you could take three supplements, it'd be those three. Although
Yeah.
you think about it, if you're on a desert island and all you are eating are fish,
Yeah.
then you might not need as much omega 3. You could pick another one.
Right. That's true. That's true.
I was thinking of the Castaway movie.
Right. Yep. Yeah, coconuts and fish, right? Like,
Yeah, you get your MCTs from the coconuts. And now we're really biohacking a desert island story. I like this.
yep. Um, so to get back to what you're using it to derive it, like I've heard a lot of people talk about the health properties of papaya,
Yep.
and papaya seeds, and I think that's something that, granted, it's a tropical fruit, so is mango, right? So it's not something that we can get necessarily
Right.
in a good quality form all year round, right?
Yeah, it gets more challenging. I mean, listen, the world is different now with supply chains. When I grew up in the Midwest, we did not have bananas or blueberries in the winter.
Right.
Now you can those are sourced, right? They're grown
Yep.
in Mexico and brought up, and we can, NAFTA allows them to come through or whatever, but
Yep.
we can get them. But you're right, we're not getting, the seasonal, the right stuff always all the time. We have better access to them
Yeah.
for sure. The world is flatter.
Yeah. But it's that's where the supplement piece really does come in, because
Oh yeah.
the soils change, we're not growing our own
Yeah.
food, so there is
Yeah.
nutrients that are lost as things are trucked
Yep.
across the country, um, and so being able to maximize the nutrients you do get
Yep.
into the cell is a massive thing because you can eat all the fruits and vegetables. You can say, no, I'm just going to go ahead and just going to cram the stuff in, but
Yep.
you're still not getting enough.
Well, we are learning what not enough looks like. We don't know the high end, as you asked earlier,
Mm-hmm.
but we feel the particular dose that moved the needle on this study we did
Mm-hmm.
we have a good Goldilocks starting place. We
Right.
know it's delivering the phytonutrients to the cell
Yeah.
and getting a benefit that no one has been able to get thus far.
Right. And so for the cell to work perfect, or not perfect, but optimal, right? Because from a longevity standpoint, that's what we're after. We're not just after like living to 120 in the last 30 years being in a hospital bed.
Yes, we want healthy years all the way through. We're going to fill our longevity with independence and mobility and cognitive enjoyment and social interactions, not in a nursing home, So I agree with you there.
And that's where this comes full circle as far as creating those stronger, healthier cells that live longer. Because even though we've all heard that, that our cells regenerate or, over a certain period of time, different time periods between on which organ or which cells they are.
Right.
But, you know, we want to regenerate stronger ones as they do regenerate.
Well, yes, we want to replace with the most youthful appearing and functioning cell that we can. And
Yeah.
that's where not only phytonutrient delivery, but also we get back to some of the human exosomes and regenerative medicine, right?
Yeah.
And peptides, things to cell signaling
Yeah.
to, encourage our cells back into that, 6-year-old mode. So you scrape your
Right.
knee and it heals in 2 days, not 2 weeks.
Right. And you've mentioned peptides a couple of times, and I know that's another thing that's huge in like recent years.
Yes.
People are jumping on board, and
Hmm.
and and there's good sources and other sources. I'll put it that
Yes.
way, right?
Yes.
So what, like, explain what is a peptide? What is it? Why is it important in our body?
So cells are signaled by two main things. Number one, a delivery of what's the cargo of an exosome, whether it's
Mhm.
phytonutrients or a set of message from a stem cell that says, "Hey, let's tap into these genes
Right,
and anti-inflammatory genes. Let's tap into these proteins to make. Let's take that cell, a factory, and instead of being in defense mode fighting the world's inflammatory stresses, let's put you into peacetime mode and have you do what we need you to do." And that's really what that's going on. So cell signaling comes through exosomal contents and through direct protein peptide content. So peptide's a small protein. So and many of those work on the surface of the cell in a receptor that is sort of a puzzle piece match with that
right,
peptide, and some actually work inside the cell and can influence, again, just like the cargo of an exosome, what goes on. So peptides are a nice way to influence certain pathways in a cell. You want to enhance recovery. You
yeah,
want to flip your metabolism into less sugar exposure, and that's what GLP does, right?
right,
So there are so many now, and people have a big appetite for them, and they're amazing, and they're naturally occurring. A few of them are slightly modified, maybe one amino acids flipped to give it a little more boost, and the
right,
GLPs are like that. And
yeah,
that's why companies can patent those, right? Because they
right,
they modified it. But most of them are naturally occurring. You just need a little extra, just like with stem cells. Your stem cells decline, your cellular function declines, hormones decline. Sometimes you need a little extra. Give it back.
right,
Give me that youthful boost. Yeah.
yeah. And when it comes to peptides, there's a bigger range of what's available,
Oh
and
yeah.
the type, and what's going to do better for what system in your body,
Right.
right?
I mean, they're more granular generally. Some of them are anti-inflammatory and you can use them in different, for different issues. Some
Mhm.
are more specific, like for libido and sexual health
Yeah,
or for weight loss. So it just depends on your goals. And, if you like to avoid pharmaceuticals and you want to try something natural. It's a great way. Now, the downside is you do have to inject yourself with a little
Right.
teeny insulin syringe.
Right.
So you have to have an appetite for that.
Yeah.
But it's great if you're in the middle age. Maybe you've lost a little weight and now you need to put on a little muscle, or there are peptides that help stimulate that you might use
Yeah.
temporarily. So it's a way to sort of encourage your cells to get your body what it needs to
Right.
support health and longevity, and your not just your healthcare needs, but you get ahead of this. It's your healthcare desires, your longevity
Right.
desires, right?
Right.
What are you willing to do?
Yeah. Well, and it's all about building those stronger cells and
Right.
through adding these things in. And
Right.
the stronger they are, the longer you can live a healthier, active life that you
Yep.
want.
That's
Because
exactly the goal.
we all know that oh, I hit 40 and now my body's falling apart is not the way it's supposed to go.
Right. That's exactly right. And you got to act before you hit that.
Right.
And you'll prevent it, right? And how we behave this decade is how we feel in the next.
Right. Yep. And so being able to how do we know which peptide's the right one? Like, is there a blood test, or is there?
There are some blood tests you can do, but you talk to a clinician who knows what they're talking about in peptides. So I know a lot of people, get these on their own and that kind of
Right.
thing, and that's okay. I love liberties and freedoms and democracy. And you're in Texas, one of the last
Yeah.
strongholds of liberty. But
Yeah.
I love that people can do that, but you can also hurt yourself. So get some advice. And not everything you see on social media is accurate.
Right.
And there are differing opinions.
Yeah.
So start, get a good source, vet the source, make sure it's 99% pure or better, and there are certificates of authenticity and analysis and testing and all that, no contaminants, and that you know what you're doing and you handle the materials properly in a sterile way.
Right.
And you start with a low dose and make sure you're good. And if you need to ramp up, you could hurt yourself with some of these. The
Yeah.
GLPs, you could hurt yourself. The growth hormone secretagogues, there's a word for you. The
Yeah.
ones that cause growth hormone to secrete, which can help you put on muscle. You could hurt yourself if you
Yeah.
mess up. So, and some of the younger people who want to put on muscle are say, oh, this is fine, this is fine. Well, a generation ago and still today, people use anabolic steroids and they hurt
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah. Very true. And so it is. You go find somebody that really knows what they're doing and can
Yeah.
give you the right education on it. And if you feel needed, go get a second opinion and make sure that they're telling you the
Yep.
truth, right? Like, and
Yep.
because it's trusting one person,
Mhm.
it's great. I think we all want to hear that one thing and that one testimony and go, oh, that was my situation, and I'm going to jump all in on this one. But that everybody's different, and everybody's body's been through different things and exposed to
Yep.
different things, and so just because you may have the same symptoms doesn't mean your root cause is the same as
Correct.
somebody else's.
Correct. So if I mean, listen, I do a lot of joint and spine injections
Mhm.
with human exosomes. We have some really cool results with cartilage regeneration to help people avoid surgery. But when people meet with me, we spend half an hour together at
Yeah.
least. We look at their tests and the results, and if they're not adequate testing, we get better tests. If you only have 5 minutes with your doc and they don't even go over the images with you,
Yeah.
you might not be the right place.
Right.
Yeah.
So for somebody who we've touched a nerve and they want to learn more, how do they follow what you're doing and connect with what you're doing?
Well, I changed the name of my practice, Jerry, to Re-Celebrate.
Hmm.
So we could celebrate the renewal of your cells. That's all we
Love it.
talked about today, right? So
I
it's
love that.
RECELLEBRATE. And I think because we made up that word, we pretty much cornered the internet on that word. So if you follow
Nice.
us, it's recelebrate.com, or on the social channels, it's at Recelebrate. We're on most of those channels. Please take a look at us.
Yeah.
If you're interested in the longevity exosomes, you're ready to start your longevity journey with phytonutrient delivery. That's recellnutra.com,
Yeah.
RECELLNUTRA.com.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And so I'm going to throw this in there, and we talked about this before we started recording, but I've made the executive decision, since of course I'm the host of the podcast and can do whatever I want. I'm going to go ahead and throw you in and do a special episode instead of a normal Wednesday, so that we can get this launched and out there before the Beyond Biohacking conference hits.
Yes. All right.
So, because I mentioned that you're going to be presenting there, and it's in
Yep.
Austin, and I just actually bought my ticket this morning. I've been looking at it for a couple of days.
Yep. They had a deal. Did you get the deal?
I got the deal. Yep.
So by the time this show airs, it's too late for the deal. But
Yeah.
it's a wonderful event. They sometimes will sell even just the tickets to go through the exhibits, which that alone is amazing. It's the energy of the people, like mindset, the type of biohacking technology, and biohacking doesn't have to be a bad word. The health and wellness alternative ideas there are incredible, from peptides to regenerative medicine. This is our third year presenting. This is our favorite event, and we're actually doing intravenous exosomes at the booth again this year. So we have an incredible discount. Our supplier takes out their margin. We take out our margin so people can come try it. So it's experiential. You can come do that. And I am lecturing on cell signaling. So if you're interested, come check it out. There are all kinds of great lecturers and things to do there.
Yeah. No, it is. It's packed. And, when I first saw it come across, as far as on the calendar, and I asked my wife, and she was like, you have to go to this. And so I think it's going to be a great experience. So if anybody's thinking about it in the Austin area, it's May 27th through 29th, right? Beyond Biohacking, and I'll put the link in the show notes as well with all your stuff as well. So we covered a lot with the exosomes. We covered a little bit of the peptides. Is there anything that somebody is interested, somebody's looking at, that you would say, like, okay, here's something we didn't talk about that you need to know about this?
Well, I mean, you really, anyone out there's got a joint or spine problem who's trying to avoid surgery, you got to spend 30 minutes on the phone with me or on the video with me. Most of my patients are remote. Jerry, we only invite you here to Las Vegas, where my office is, if there's something we could do for you. And most people need to get tuned up ahead of time and get, make a lot of changes. And we dial this in. It's very specific and granular, and it's a one and done procedure. And we follow a French protocol that has 15-year follow-up published. So this is we're not shooting from the hip. This is, there's medical evidence to support this. We're not allowed to make any claims, because as a surgeon, we've never guaranteed anything, right? But you want to avoid surgery? This is a great thing you can try.
Yeah. And I think that should be top of the line for everybody, because if it doesn't work, there is always surgery. But it's like, you might as well do everything you can before getting cut open. And
I've done about, I started making this flip about 8 years ago. We've done about 750 joints, and we've had 3 people go on to have surgery. Wow. 2 of them were simply just not patient, because it takes 6 to 12 months to get the result. And one of them, we had done the injection, he got some benefit, and I kind of lost track of him. He lost track of me. He just decided to go on and do it. I would have wanted another bite at the apple, but we didn't. So 3 out of 750, I think we're doing okay.
That's pretty good odds.
Yeah.
Yep. So, well, Dr. Jeff, I want to thank you so much for being a guest. It's been a great conversation.
Anytime. Consider me phone a friend. I hope we talk again soon. But I'll see you in May.
I will see you in May. That's for sure.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for checking out the Confidence Through Health podcast. Please subscribe, post a review, share this episode with those you love who need a little extra help with their health journey. Visit allinhealthandwellness.com to learn more about the coaching programs that I provide. All episodes are produced by the Social Media Cowboys, your source for all online marketing needs. Go to socialmediacowboys.com for more information.